Tell them to bring me my money.
Hey guys, some bad news before we start. YouTube has been censoring my videos very heavily, so unfortunately, this means no more swearing, no more naughty words, and no more pregnant Goku. I'm sorry guys. Anyways, today I'm going to be talking about stuff that I hate about dating. And I just want to be clear, I'm just ranting about stuff. If you actually go outside, you'll find the majority of people are just, normal people. This is coming from the perspective of a straight person. So, I don't know how many of you gay people are going to be able to relate to this. But, shout out to all my gay niggas. Thank you for giving us 2 black men kiss.
Cum is my favorite breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I love cum!
I'm just gonna come out and say it, okay? Some of y'all are way too promiscuous. Listen, right? I don't expect everyone to be a pure little saint or whatever, but some of y'all are honestly disgusting. Hoe phases, cheating, sneaky links, one-night stands, OnlyFans, situationships, baby daddies, and tons of hookups. I'm not trying to be prude, but what are these body counts? There are people out here eager to be doing the nasty with anybody and everybody, including random strangers. I feel like we've normalized promiscuity and casual sex, and it enabled a lot of sexual degenerates. My friend, who was in a relationship at the time, told me his coworker was trying to hit, even though she knew he was in a relationship. And she was like, "Oh, it's okay, everybody cheats." And I'm like, bitch, who the fuck is everybody? Why is it so common for people to cheat nowadays? I remember talking to this one guy, and he openly admitted to breaking up with his girlfriend on the spot so he could fuck some random girl he just met. Like, where is the trust? Where is the commitment? Disgusting. Seeing so many people in our generation being so nasty and promiscuous can kind of turn a lot of people off to the idea of dating because they don't want to date someone who's just going to cause problems and ruin your relationship. Not trying to shame anyone, kind of, but promiscuous people like this do not make good partners. They have all sorts of red flags, mental problems, history, baggage, commitment issues, herpes probably, and the tiger poster. Deep down, the desire to be in a loving relationship is really strong right now, but people are so degenerate that it's hard to find someone that you can genuinely trust. Women don't want to give their love and commitment to a potential deadbeat who's just going to pump, dump, and dip and abandon her when it's convenient for him. And men don't want to give their love and commitment to a girl who is carrying all the baggage from her hoe phases. You can tell with stuff like situationships that people want a relationship, but they're just really hesitant right now. Speaking of which, I also think promiscuity and stuff like situationships have ruined people's desire or need for commitment. People would rather have these ephemeral, short-lived pleasures rather than actually building a long-lasting, genuine relationship. Even if casually having sex with strangers is an emotionally unfulfilling and hollow experience due to the lack of emotional connection. Don't you guys think it's a bit strange that hookup culture is more prevalent than ever, yet our generation is also considered the loneliest? That really makes you think, huh? I'm starting to get sick of the gender wars when it comes to dating. And if you don't know what the gender wars is, it's basically men and women listing all the reasons that they fucking hate each other. And keep in mind, I think that there are things that you can very fairly criticize both men and women for when it comes to relationships. I'm actually planning on making a video like this myself, but to me there's a difference between a fair criticism of a gender's actions and saying that entire gender is irredeemable trash. And when I say that, you probably already know the exact type of people I'm talking about. I'm talking about men who think that all women are a bunch of nasty whores, or women who think that all men are a bunch of disgusting perverts. I fucking hate both of you. Mentally unstable women get left hanging on a one-night stand and decide today is the day they're gonna be annoying on social media and announce that men ain't shit. And guys are no better. Guys get their heart broken once and then go home and post sad Bart Simpson edits and make dead rappers their entire personality. Talking about how all girls are the same, like, shut your bitch ass up! Bitches ain't shit my ass, bro. Shut the fuck up, you broccoli top douchebag. Okay, jokes aside, I think that there's some level of truth to some of what is being said, but this blame the other gender for all my problems mentality is kind of dumb. I think because of all of the degeneracy, as I mentioned in the previous section, the trust between men and women has really faded in recent years. The divide between the genders is greater now than it has ever been. But if you stay inside of an echo chamber and are constantly shown the worst that the other gender has to offer on social media, of course you're gonna end up like this. We've gotten to a point where men and women are assuming the absolute worst in each other. It's actually kind of sad to see. I think the reason this pisses me off so much is the fact that a lot of the people who do this are always the most insufferable pieces of shit. Both genders can be shitty people, yet most of these people want to glaze their gender and defend every toxic and terrible thing that they do. Also, I've noticed that most of the people who do this are almost always degenerates themselves, who don't want to self-reflect and fix their behavioral problems, so they just blame the other gender when all of their relationships fail. Like, yes, of course, honey, it's all 200 of your exes that were toxic. It's totally not you that's the problem. These people need to develop some self-awareness and realize they're just doing the exact same thing that they're complaining that the other gender is doing, but in reverse.
Damn, dude, this guy's tiny. He must be a dwarf. Sorry, I'm not interested in being friends with midgets. Midgets piss me off.
The comments under this video have been distasteful, disgusting, and outright disrespectful.
Bitches will say shit like, man ain't shit, man ain't shit. But honey, you are the one fucking him. And guys will say shit like, oh, she's a hoe, but I still hit if I could. Like, buddy, you're no better. Self-awareness? Hello? Hello? Y'all are out here fucking the same people you're complaining about. Do people not realize that if you act like a degenerate, you're just going to attract other degenerates? If you act like a prostitute, you're gonna get a pimp. And if you act like a pimp, you're gonna get a prostitute. Not trying to say everyone is like this and it's all your fault, because there are absolutely exceptions, but the amount of people who shame the other gender while being just as bad is actually kinda shocking. Degeneracy aside, I really wish people would open up and understand the other gender's perspective. Understand the values they bring to the table rather than just constantly tearing them down and being so nasty to one another. I know that sounds weird coming from someone like me, but the constant fighting back and forth is getting annoying. Friendly reminder, you're supposed to love each other. You're going to potentially be married one day. You're gonna be a team, but how do you expect that team to function if you're constantly fighting with your teammate? How are you gonna be in love with someone that you hate? And if you say some shit like, oh, I don't need a partner, I have a device that stimulates intercourse with the opposite gender, I'm fucking stealing something from your house.
People fall in love with the wrong people sometimes. Some mistakes get made, that's alright.
I've noticed a rise in superficial relationships thanks to the gender wars. On one hand, you have the smegma Andrew Tate stans, who say that all women are stupid and they only want money and you should take advantage of that by flaunting your wealth and fucking a bunch of younger girls. While on the other hand, you have a bunch of female influencers telling the younger generation of girls that men ain't shit, and you should be a gold digger and use them for every dime that they have. Now both genders have just resorted to taking advantage of each other instead of building a genuine relationship, with the logic being, oh, the other gender was just gonna take advantage of you, so you might as well do it first. It's women weaponizing sex to use a man for money, and men weaponizing money to use a woman for sex. Imagine giving that value to someone with the intent to find genuine love, only to find that person is just leading you on for their own personal gain. That is a horrible thing to do to someone, and the fact that it's being normalized is kind of disgusting. On a side note, I really do not like these dating advice influencers. I really don't like how transactional relationships feel nowadays. I don't like how everything has boiled down to trading sex for money or trading money for sex with little room for genuine love. And the influencers who promote this nonsense really are not helping. These things were kind of an afterthought of a relationship, but now they're at the forefront in a very icky way. These people make their superficial intentions very clear off the bat. The only reason they're even talking to you is money or sex. They don't give a fuck about you. They're not here to find a loving relationship. And I understand people want to add value to themselves. They want to get what they're giving out, but this is not the way to do it. You're treating relationships like a fucking business transaction. Also, fuck sugar daddy relationships. Fuck out of here with that shit. Even outside of the gender wars, I feel like social media in general has given people an unreasonably high expectation and superficial standard. How many times have you heard, he has to have a boat, 19 cars, a 6-figure salary, a massive fucking penis, a mansion?
Just exist. Because as a woman, you have value just by existing. You're already doing him a favor because you bring so much to the table just by existing with him.
You demand princess treatment for existing, you provide nothing, you serve zero purpose. There are so many guys whose brains are so fried from watching a bunch of unrealistic and incel nonsense on the internet that the only thing that they think about is sex. They have no idea how to actually speak to a woman.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Misha.
Okay, nice to meet you, Misha. I am Arya, and that would be left.
Whatever happened to, I don't know, meeting somebody and enjoying the time that you spent with them? Whatever happened to wanting to spend your life with someone? Whatever happened to letting your homie bounce on it when he's lonely? Whatever happened to falling in love? I'm not trying to sound like one of those people who are like, oh, looks don't matter, money doesn't matter, it's what's on the inside that counts, because I understand that this stuff does matter. Self-improvement matters. Financial stability matters. Taking care of the way you look matters. Adding value to yourself matters. It is completely normal for people to have standards and value these things, but I think my problem is more so the fact that these things are being weaponized to gain power over another person rather than to enrich the life of your partner through a loving relationship. It's normal to want this stuff so you can do nice things for your partner that make them happy, but that feeling should be mutual. It should be reciprocal. You do these things for your partner because you love them and you trust them and you know that they would do the same for you, but everyone is just using each other now, so that trust just isn't really there anymore. Back then, there was mutual respect, but nowadays men and women just fucking hate each other. They're just constantly fighting and tearing each other down, and the natural response to this is that you're less inclined to do nice things for someone who is disrespectful and ungrateful towards you. I also feel like this is important to mention, but men and women spend so much time fighting that neither of them really have any idea how to add value to themselves to make them desirable to the opposite gender. Everyone is so focused on what they want rather than what value they can provide to a relationship. Everybody wants traditional values, but only when it benefits them. Everybody wants a high quality partner until it requires them to be a high quality partner back. I'ma be real, there are a lot of women nowadays who use sex appeal to make up for the fact that they have the personality of a wet paper towel and nothing to offer to a relationship. And there are a lot of men nowadays who have turned to incel sigma male ideologies because they don't understand why women don't like losers with porn addictions. Bro, you need to shower!
Doesn't your sand pride dictate that you should stay with your wife?
Being a sand is the only pride I have, SpongeBob. Yes, Kakarot, I do!
The dating pool has gotten extremely toxic in recent years, so I'm gonna bring up an example to explain something I've been calling a vicious dating cycle. On one hand, men are saying, why would a man waste his accumulated wealth to settle with a girl who got ran through in her 20s? While on the other hand, women are saying, why would a woman save herself for a man like this, who was always just going to replace her with a younger, prettier girl when she's old and past her prime? Usually this results in each gender pursuing the superficial lifestyle I mentioned previously. They perceive the other gender so horribly that the idea of pursuing a genuine relationship with them seems hopeless, so they just turn to degeneracy instead, which also has the added consequence of just reinforcing the other gender's beliefs in the process. It is a reaction to a reaction to a reaction. You know, I'm not entirely sure if I'm explaining this well, but hopefully you get the point. The relationship dynamic between men and women is kind of complicated right now. Okay, I created a diagram to explain what I'm talking about. You can start at either men or women here, but for the sake of the argument, I'm gonna start with women. So women start acting promiscuous and degenerate. Then good men see this and are disgusted by this behavior. These men lose hope in pursuing a genuine relationship and turn to degeneracy. Then men start acting promiscuous and degenerate. Good women see this and are disgusted by this behavior. These women lose hope in pursuing a genuine relationship and turn to degeneracy. And now we're back at the start where women start acting promiscuous and degenerate. We have come full circle, and from here, the cycle repeats itself, and every time it repeats, it just gets worse and worse and worse. Thus, a vicious cycle. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. This is just one example, but you can apply this logic to a lot of other dating scenarios as well. During my research for this video, I found that almost every time a man or a woman did something horrible, it was almost always intentionally or not in response to something that the other gender did.
If dating for love isn't working out for you, date for money. I'm being dead serious. My dating approach has been unbelievably pure for my entire life. Never cared about the financial status of the guy, have dated people with less money than me, have always gone 50-50 in relationships, has never been financially taken care of by a guy. I just wanted to fall in love and have a genuine partnership and connection with someone. And guess where that's gotten me? Used, taken advantage of, single. Every guy who I've had genuine feelings for has just hurt me. I got to the point where I just stopped dating. I was like, men are just ruining my life. Until I realized, what if I just start thinking like a man? What if I just start getting what I need out of these relationships instead of worrying about the genuine love and connection that we share?
You can feel conflicts like this constantly pushing and pulling between men and women nowadays. And because it's a cycle, arguing about which gender started it, or which gender is in the wrong, is like arguing which came first, the chicken or the egg. We are currently in an infinite back and forth, where both genders want to blame each other to justify their shitty behavior. And the longer this goes on, the worse it gets. And don't get me wrong, I understand where this fear is coming from, and I can definitely sympathize with people. Imagine putting your trust and commitment into a relationship just to get fucked over by the one person you were supposed to trust the most. That's rough. It's a very reasonable fear, and the fact that there's a severe lack of trust between the genders right now only makes it scarier. But the idea that you should hurt somebody else the same way somebody hurt you is just not a mentality that I fuck with. You're potentially hurting innocent men and women, which is just going to make the problem worse. Can you shut the fuck up? I'm preaching here. The reason I bring this up is because I feel like it's part of a much larger problem when it comes to dating. Take everything I've said in this video so far. The promiscuity, the gender wars, the superficial relationships, and the abundance of shitty influencers promoting garbage to their followers. And you have one of the most toxic dating pools I have ever had the displeasure of witnessing. Everybody is constantly fighting, blaming each other, using each other, manipulating each other. There's too much degeneracy, there's no trust, no commitment, and most of the times, this shitty behavior is being justified by the same stupid excuse. It's a fucking mess, and I am sick of it. This is not what dating is supposed to be like at all. Remember when dating was about finding somebody who you genuinely love and wanted to spend your life with? In case you needed a refresher, here is what a relationship should be like.
What's been the most memorable time period of your life?
Being married to my wife for 51 years. I'll never forget her. We were a perfect couple and enjoyed each day together. And when I lost her, I lost my life. So I'm just existing now till I go and join her. And I'm 93 years old, so I don't have much time left, I'm sure.